Okay, so we're live, and we'll just say up front that Kaylee's video isn't working, but she's still here participating. Um, okay, so this prompt says this week's lectures and reading focused on leader and leadership development in a leadership in a crisis. Please discuss ways that you believe organizations can prepare leaders at all levels to respond in a crisis. Um, so I will start off by saying obviously you have to know what kind of crisis you're preparing for. Um, I know the book lists off a bunch of like public perception, natural disasters, terrorist attack, human resource, oil chemical spills, all these, so on and so forth. Um, and I mean, you got to know what one, because obviously, if you're Walmart down the street, you're not going to prepare for a terrorist attack. Obviously, if you're an airport, you are. So I think broadly, you first have to um, know what you need to prepare for.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I work for a school district, though, and we basically have to prepare for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Terrorist attacks, domestic attacks, all kinds of natural disasters. I mean, it's crazy all the things that we have to plan for. But one of the things that we have done, there's a system, an emergency management system called Catapult EMS, and it connects us all. We all have on our mobile phones and on our computers at work. We have this system, and it connects us to the police, fire, all emergency personnel, and anytime there is an incident of any kind near one of our schools, near the district office, whatever, the police can initiate it or we can, and we get the word out immediately to everybody what we need to do. Hard lockdown, soft lockdown, you know, whatever it is that needs to be done. So it's kind of one of those catch-alls, I guess, for, you know, you need to prepare for everything. I don't know how to, so let's do it this way.
So it sounds like you have the systems in place. Do you think that your leadership would be able to effectively handle something like that, whether it be an earthquake or, you know, a school shooting or, you know, even someone like a scandal in the school, like the wide range of what could happen?
Well, we've already had to use it a number of times. We only just got it at the beginning of this school year. And we're a pretty large school district, so, you know, we have things happen all the time. And I was out at one of our schools and got an alert on my phone, and there was somebody who had been shooting in the area, you know, about a block away from the school. So they sent out, the cops sent out the thing to the Catapult EMS, and they told us to lock down, and we were able to actively lock down the school and make sure all the kids were secured. So I think we're getting really prepared for it. And the leadership is, of course, very important with that. They're the ones who guide when we have to, you know, make it a lockdown, when we have to bring it up, what we have to do in between, and if something actually happens on campus, they're right there.
Yeah, I think that's really good that you guys are so prepared for like a wide range of things, because like where I work for Starbucks, and like we are very prepared for certain things and we're like super unprepared for other things. Like we're really prepared, like if there's like a product or service problem, like we know exactly what we have to do, or if there's like some sort of media thing, then we know what we have to do. But like for example, a couple of weeks ago in our area, there was like a SWAT standoff, and like we didn't even know, like, are we supposed to close the store or like what? Like we had never been in that position before. Like no one had told us like what we would have to do in that situation. So like we're trying to make phone calls while we're also like still trying to run a business, you know. So I can definitely appreciate the fact that you guys are prepared for, you know, basically anything and everything.
Yeah, I can relate. I had a situation like that where, someone, not a customer, actually had a seizure in front of our building and was on the floor bleeding, and it was pretty serious. And my reaction was to call 911, and I just stopped doing my job.
Right.
And another girl who was a volunteer firefighter at the time walked out and began helping him because she kind of knew what to do. And as far as our job goes, like, we were still expected to kind of be doing it, and I thought that was strange. Like, my
Yeah.
manager wasn't, he didn't care, but like, the customers were like, where are you going? And I was like, I'm calling an ambulance. Like,
Right.
it was just, there was no like, oh, this is a policy we have. Like, I had nothing to kind of tell them, and it was strange. So it's like, yeah, we're prepared. We know how to pull product off the shelves or what to say in those situations, but actual, like, violent crises or danger, it's just kind of like, we aren't ready for that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You would think Starbucks would prepare more just because you are such a huge organization.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot to ask of so many people, so spread out. Like, that's a lot of training, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a lot of turnover, I guess, too, huh?
Yeah, like, we're already trained so much as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel as though I'm really sorry, there's an airplane. I'm really highly trained in like if the store were to get held up or
Mhm.
there's some sort of like, we actually did have a gentleman who attempted and ended up dropping a lawsuit against the store, and like we were actually really prepared for that. There were people who worked with us to within the organization to get past that and to prepare for what may come in the rest of that situation. But yeah, like there are so many different little, I mean, they're not little situations, but I guess like I think Starbucks has taken probably like the 3 or 4 more likely things, like severe weather and product or service or like natural disaster, that kind of thing. And then everything else is just kind of like assumed it's not going to happen, which is like, I think that's kind of a poor way to go about it. But then again, I also don't know how they would approach it if they were to.
And then, I mean, you also have to take a look at, like, the chances of, I don't know, you work at Starbucks in California. What are the chances that a terrorist attack is going to happen? Not very likely. And so I think one thing you could say is, when do you draw the line of you just delegate to the leader when something really unlikely is going to happen, where you trust them to lead through that, and then something more likely, like, say, a store robbery, or the power goes out or something like that, that's much more likely to happen, you train all your partners. Because I agree that we already learned so much. We already have a ton we have to do. Training for every little minor thing isn't very productive, and that's where I think you can delegate and trust your store manager or even your shift supervisors to lead through those very unlikely scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about the management and everything, when I watched the spill, one of the big problems was they knew about the problems at the plant and they just kept ignoring them. So there were problems that were going to cause a massive explosion that was going to kill people, and they just kept ignoring them. Do you trust your management to, like, the highest ups where you are, to see problems like that and fix them, or do you think that they would be like these guys and be, like BP, and be selfish and just go, no, we need more money, we're not going to spend money to fix the problem?
I think Starbucks is so public that it's not really ever even thought of in that way. I think they immediately, well, I'm hoping most of the time, assume responsibility, deal with it, because it's like, it's, everybody talks about everything, and they can't really
I think
go
it's
on it
different.
like that.
It's different with retail too, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Where, I mean, if Starbucks has a bad perception like that, no, people aren't going to shop there, or go to get coffee there. But when it's a big oil company like that, where it's not really selling to retail, that's harder. Just like the what was it? The Volkswagen. Did you guys hear about that? What happened? Where they it was something wrong. Was it with the airbags? I think, or it was with the emissions testing.
Right.
And when you plugged it in, it gave false emissions test results, and they knew about it.
Wow.
So I think it depends the business too.
Yeah,
and
I
who
agree.
you're selling to. So we're probably about 9 minutes. So will anybody have any last minute comments on that?
Yeah, I
No.
think that there are things that I think Starbucks has done a really good job of, taking care of it right away before it became a problem. Like in the past year, there was like months that went by that like no Starbucks in like the continental 48 had bagels because there was some problem with the bagels, and like they never even discussed with anyone like lower down the food chain like what the problem was, but they just took away the bagels until the problem went away. Like if there's the slightest hint of there being a problem, then that problem will be totally erased before anyone even talks about it again.
Yeah, they do a good job of damage control.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Even with the red cups, you guys.
Oh my god.
Don't
I mean,
get us
it's like it's
started
not
on
even
that.
Christmas.
That could be another 10-minute conversation.
Oh my gosh.
All right.